Hey there. Have you ever caught yourself obsessing over how many likes, follows, or shares you're stacking up on social media? If so, I want you to pause for a moment and really listen in. In today's episode of the Cody podcast, we're tackling something that tends to dominate everyone's feeds, yet rarely brings genuine value: vanity metrics. By the time we're done here, you'll have a completely different outlook on those glittery numbers that look spectacular on the surface, but might be falling flat when it comes to authentic engagement, meaningful relationships, and long term revenue. It's not that likes, follows, and views can't ever be useful, but too often they become a stand in for real success. That's exactly why we're digging deeper today, to help you figure out how to separate the flashy but hollow figures from the numbers that truly matter for your brand, business, or creative endeavor. I get it. Everybody loves that rush of excitement when the notifications start rolling in. You work hard perfecting an Instagram caption, paying attention to hashtags, analyzing the best time to post, and setting up a polished visual aesthetic. When the likes start pouring in, it's easy to feel like you've unlocked some secret success formula. But then you look at your online store's analytics or your actual revenue, and you realize the needle hasn't moved at all. What gives? That's the hidden pitfall of vanity metrics. They can give you a momentary surge of pride, but fail to translate into real results. They're like shiny confetti tossed into the air, eye-catching, fun to watch flutter around, but ultimately lacking any lasting substance once the celebration's over. The real danger emerges when we let these surface-level stats dictate critical decisions. Maybe you decide to funnel a chunk of your marketing budget into sponsored posts because you noticed a certain spike in likes last time around, hoping to replicate that high. Or perhaps you launch a collaboration with an influencer who promises a wave of new followers, only to find that these new faces don't engage beyond hitting that follow button. It's a bit like discovering a chest of gold coins that turn to dust as soon as you reach out to grab them. Sure, you've got this massive new follow account, but if none of those people care enough to click on your links, join your email list, or actually purchase what you're offering, your business isn't any better off than it was before you spent that money and effort. So, what should you really be looking at if your goal is to grow something that lasts? It all comes down to numbers that reflect genuine actions taken by real people. Instead of celebrating that 15-second spike in likes, ask yourself if those people are sticking around. Are they reading your blog posts or signing up for your membership site? Are they spending actual time watching your videos or diving into your podcast episodes? Are they scrolling right on by after a quick tap, or are they subscribing and returning to your website repeatedly? Metrics like conversion rates, bounce rates, average time on site, repeat visits, and actual purchases provide insight into whether or not you're building something sustainable. Remember, 10,000 casual scrollers aren't nearly as valuable as even 1,000 people who love your content, trust your recommendations, and become loyal advocates for your brand. Let me offer a more concrete example. Picture company A, which decides to go big on Instagram. They hire a full production team to craft eye-catching reels, pair up with popular influencers, and meticulously post at the optimal time every day. Their follower count skyrockets by 10,000 in a single week, and they might even get a bunch of comments that say, "Wow," or "Awesome post." But when you look at the data under the hood, almost none of those followers add anything to the shopping cart, open an email, or engage in a meaningful conversation with the company. Meanwhile, Company B opts for a more targeted approach, building a compelling email campaign designed specifically for people who already have a genuine interest in their niche. They only add about 1,000 new subscribers in that same time span, which might look unimpressive next to Company A's surge. But out of that 1,000, a healthy percentage makes an actual purchase, and many go on to become repeat buyers. Maybe they share positive reviews and even post user-generated content because they're genuinely excited about the product. Company B hasn't set any likes records, but their bottom line has seen real growth, and they've cultivated stronger relationships with people who will likely support them for years to come. That's the difference between chasing vanity and cultivating something truly valuable. Vanity metrics might boost your ego, but they don't necessarily build a stable foundation for your business or personal brand. Real value, on the other hand, comes from the kind of engagement that transcends a quick scroll and a casual like. It's about fostering real conversations, encouraging brand loyalty, and focusing on the metrics that signal genuine interest. The question you have to ask yourself when you see a spike in numbers is this: are these the people who will actually champion my brand, invest in my products or services, and stick around for the long haul? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to question the strategy. Another point to remember is that it's perfectly normal to want validation. We're human after all, and it feels good to watch the numbers climb. But it's crucial not to let those numbers alone determine what you'll do next. Step back and think, what do these analytics reveal about who's interested in my work and why? You might discover that a video with fewer views but more comments and shares is more beneficial to your overall goals than the video that simply racked up a ton of silent watches. Dig deeper and ask how you can replicate what drove that more meaningful engagement. It could mean adjusting your content strategy or finding ways to interact with your audience that go beyond the superficial double tap. As you're listening to this episode of the Cody podcast, I encourage you to take a few minutes after it ends to evaluate your own platforms and analytics. What trends stand out when you look at how many subscribers you're adding each month, how many people actually purchase your products, how often your website visitors return, or how long they stick around? If you can't see a clear through line from your flashy social numbers to measurable business outcomes, it may be time to pivot. Shifting your approach might feel risky or unfamiliar at first, but focusing on metrics that actually move the needle can pay off in a big way. It allows you to invest in the right activities, streamline your marketing, and nurture relationships with the people who truly matter. I hope this conversation has sparked some new thinking on how you measure what success really means for you and your work. We all want that quick flash of recognition, but if it's at the expense of building something that lasts, it's just not worth it. So the next time you find yourself glued to your screen, counting each new follower or waiting for the next handful of likes, remember that numbers without context or commitment are about as useful as a one-time fireworks show. Beautiful for a moment, but gone almost instantly. Focus on what truly counts: actions, loyalty, depth of engagement, and genuine relationships. If you found this episode of the Cody podcast helpful, please consider subscribing, sharing it with someone who might need to hear it, and leaving a review to let me know your thoughts. Real talk from listeners like you keeps this show alive and inspires me to dive into topics that can shape the way we approach our digital presence. Until next time, stay mindful of the metrics that matter and let the empty numbers rest in peace.